Kendra, and this is my new channel, Hooked by Happenstance. Here at Hooked by Happenstance, we're going to be doing a lot of things, mostly crochet related. Every Monday at 6 p.m. Central Time, you can hang out with me while I tell you about all of my crochet adventures for the week on this new crochet podcast called Hooked by Happenstance Makes Monday. What do I make Monday? Well, this Monday, we make Monday first. And I thought that we would talk a little bit about some words. I am taking a small page from Jen Stormcoast of the Uncreative Crafter podcast, who does a word of the week. Well, this is my section called Enamored by Etymology. Etymology, for those of you that do not know, is the study of words and their origins. Not to be confused with entomology, which is the study of bugs. No bugs, at least not today. But today we're going to talk about a few words that are important to me that will all become apparent shortly. First of all, I thought that we would talk a bit about the name, Hooked by Happenstance. What the heck is happenstance, right? So I looked it up. I mean, I have a general feeling of what it is. It means coincidence, chance, the way things are. You know, things just kind of happen. People see it as like fate, whatever. But according to Google, which actually has a very interesting and deep research thing you can look at about words and their origins, happenstance is a word which originated in North America in the 19th century. It is a conglomeration of the two English words happen and circumstance. Smoosh them together, you get happenstance. So whatever circumstance you happen to be in is happenstance. And I really like that idea because I think that if you just follow the happenstance, follow the circumstances of your life and where you're at and where you could be, you can achieve a lot, and you can find a lot of happiness and joy in those little moments of happenstance. So, enjoying where you are, that circumstance you're in, and your happenstance. I'm gonna have a sip of tea because my throat is bothering me this morning out of my Kansas, my Happy Place mug, which I got at the Kansas Sampler Festival last weekend. Today I'm having Earl Grey, which was hot and is now fairly lukewarm, with sugar. Every week we're going to talk about what adjective we use to describe how Hooked by Happenstance makes your Monday. And today I chose first. The first reason being that, hello, we're on YouTube, and first is kind of a thing. That was my cat, Jezebel, who had been sitting on top of the unit. According to Google, the first definition is come before all others in time or order earliest. And well, this is the first episode of this lovely iteration of me attempting a crochet podcast. This is not the first time I've done it altogether. I did have a medium-lived podcast previously, but I am much more committed and interested in working on my crochet business and the crochet community, which has kind of developed with and around me. And cultivating that to something that I really enjoy. So, the second definition is foremost in position, rank, or importance. And I would argue that the first podcast you film is the most important. Because I have been playing around with the idea of doing this for a while. And you're not doing anything until you do the first thing. If you just wait and never start, well, you can't finish. Now, I recognize that there are many things and many projects and many creative endeavors that I start and they will never finish. Some of them are going to be works in progress forever, and some of them are just going to stop having progress. And I accept that. But if you never start with that first bit, there's no chance you can finish it, right? So that's our Enamored by Etymology for the week. We have discussed the words happenstance and first. So now we're going to move along, and I'm going to tell you about the things that have come off my hook this week. These are the things that I have made from Monday through Sunday. So what I made this week, I began with this little lovely here. This is the Hank the Hippo pattern by Simply Hooked. It used to be free, and I have the PDF saved on my computer. I don't believe it is free anymore, and I forget when I looked the last time to find it, if I could even find it. But this is Hank the Hippo, Simply Hooked. I made it out of Red Heart Super Saver in the color Pumpkin, and like all my toys, I used a G-hook. I started this when I was at the Kansas Sampler Festival last weekend. Please excuse my cat sneezing. I started this when I was at the Kansas Sampler Festival last weekend. I completed the head and part of the snout, and I moved along and did the rest of this week. So I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. This will ultimately be an item for sale in my Etsy shop once I figure out how to ship these little buggers. I gotta find the right box. And I also will have them for sale in my craft show booths when I go to my summer craft shows. Next crochet critter to come off my hook this week was Ella the Elephant by, I don't remember their name, and their name is not printed on the pattern. I will try and find it, and if I do, I will like write it below me. But if you're gonna publish a pattern, especially if it's a PDF file, because this wasn't just printed from a blog or anything, there was no name on it. Put your name on things, people, so I can give you credit. So I made this little elephant. Elephant, as I like to call it. When I make them, I verb the elephant instead of the noun elephant. So there it is. This is made out of Red Heart Super Saver in the color orange, and I used a G-hook. I sold 3 of this pattern at the Kansas Sampler Festival. One of them I had not even finished. I made it during the festival, and I was still sewing the parts together, and a little girl who was a repeat customer of mine who'd previously bought a doll came up. She's like, trying to figure out what she wants. She's like, is that an elephant? I'm like, yes. She's like, is it for sale? I'm like, it will be in a few minutes. So they walked around the tent 2 or 3 times and came back, and then she watched me finish weaving it ends and took her elephant home. It was made out of Craft Mart's, like the Michael's Cheapy yarn in the color Sangria, which is like pink and orange and magenta. But this is rebuilding up my elephant herd. So the next crocheted critter I made was this cheeky little monkey by Julie Erskine. It's available on her blog, heartandsew.co.uk. I also follow her on Instagram. She has a lot of cute things. The pattern for this actually includes like a little fedora, but I don't make the fedora. This is out of Red Heart Super Saver in the colors Cafe Latte and Beige. And obviously all my eyes are done in black, and these are just stuffed with fiberfill. But the monkey is a cute pattern. The first time I made the monkey pattern was for my middle son's birthday last year. Was it last year? I think it was last year. And it has been popular ever since. So, monkeys, they're fun. This here is part of my craft show display when I do take my items to sell. And it needed a place to live for storage because I couldn't put it in the garage because I didn't want to mess it up. So it is now living here in my house, and it will be the backdrop for these podcasts. So this shelf is going to house the things that are off my hook. It's also a nice way during the week as I finish projects, I'll just come and put them here, and then they will build up and they'll be all ready for me to share them with you. Then there are things that I'm working on and some stash, but this shelf up here is empty, and I'd like to start filling it up with things, like maybe add one thing an episode, and they could either be things that like I make, or decorative items, or like, I don't know. What do you all think I should put on my third shelf just to be pretty? And when I do have craft shows, obviously I will have to take this down. So whatever's on there, I'll just have to be able to put in a box. Figure I'll just have a tote or something where I just throw everything that I have on here at the time, take my thing with me, do my show, bring it back. But what should I put up there? Ideas for what should go on this third shelf in the comments, because I don't know, but it needs a little something, don't you think? I think it needs a little something. Okay, so moving along to what's on my hook, what I'm currently working on, my active works in progress. These are just the active ones, and there's only one. I have been working on this, which is the Lodge sweater by Rebecca Velasquez. It is a paid pattern from Annie Crochet, and I am making it for myself. And I have been working on this since the winter, but it's kind of slow moving. I've had multiple issues, in part because of the yarn I'm using. I am using the Deborah Norville collection Everyday Soft Worsted in the color Parfait and a size H hook. I bought this yarn. I had been watching another daily vlogger whose name was Jonathan Siebold. Still is his name. But I won a giveaway on his channel for like a subscriber giveaway, and it was a $25 gift certificate anywhere you wanted. And so I asked for it to be to Joann's. And I happened to go when they had this particular yarn on sale, so I spent my gift card buying 10 skeins of yarn to make myself a sweater. So this is a free sweater pour moi, which is exciting. But the yarn itself is kind of, I'm gonna drop my ball. It's gonna run away from me. But the yarn itself is a little stripy. And so when I originally made the back, I had to ultimately tear it out twice, I think. And I switched, and there's not just one skein or two skeins, there's actually 3 skeins mixed together. That way I was happy with how the striping progression went. Same is true of the 2 front sections. And then I did these 2 like motify things. And now I'm working on ribbing the sleeves. This one sleeve is all done. And I'm working on the second one. I had actually had this one completed. I wasn't happy with the way that the ribbing looked. I've been really disappointed with this pattern because it's a paid for pattern, and it was not, I mean, it wasn't crazy expensive for a sweater, but it was not cheap. And I have found that it's not very descriptive about what you're supposed to do exactly. Like, it didn't really tell me where to put the ribbing stitches into the side, and the pictures, there's not a lot of them, and they are not very like close up or descriptive in the actual construction aspects. I found this should be true with a lot of the Annie's Crochet things. Same thing with the Crochet World magazine. Like, I'm just a little not so happy with their patterns. I don't know. A lot of times I will find free patterns on Ravelry written by individuals that I find to be better than what I find in the magazines. But neither here nor there. So this is, I've seamed everything together this week. I finished the front panels and the motifs, seamed everything together, and I've been working on the ribbing. So I just need to finish the ribbing on this arm and then do the ribbing on the bottom. And I also need to do the ribbing around the neck. So I'm going to do it has like a cowly neck, you can see. So I'm going to do that part next and then be able to try it on and see how much length I need on the bottom, whether I like how their ribbing is done or if I need to do a little something to make the whole thing do what I want. But I'm very, very happy, I guess, overall. I also had some issues with sizing on this. Sometimes garments are difficult to size. Especially, like, when you look at a pattern like this, I liked the way it kind of fit on the mannequin. But this mannequin is not a human size mannequin. Like, if you look at it, it's incredibly slender and, well, just, I don't usually stand with, like, my hand on my hip. Maybe if I did that all the time, it would hang better. But I don't, and I followed the gauge indicated in the pattern. I mean, I didn't use the yarn they used, so I know that makes a difference, but I followed the gauge indicated, and my stitches do not look as big and open as theirs. And I think it has to do with the size of their mannequin. But their mannequin is also not very busty, and I am, so I had to make some accommodations there as well. I didn't change the size, but I picked my size based on that, because I did not want to look like I was wearing a circus tent. So I picked one size, and then I started putting it together and realized it was going to be way too small, so I went up a size, and that's going to fit better. It's going to be slightly fitted through the chest and like kind of an empire waist area, and then it's going to be a little looser the rest of the way. So I think it will give me a look that I'm happy with and I'm comfortable wearing, but I don't know. I was really, really excited about the sweater when I started it, and I just keep having problems with it, which is really just kind of disheartening and taking a little bit of the fun away, you know, sucking a little joy out of it. But I think that the finished object will make me happy. Sometimes things I do are process, sometimes they are product. In this case, I really want the finished product, which is why I'm trying to barrel through the process. I also know that since it's for me, it keeps getting backburnered because since it's for me, it can. but I need to stop back burnering it and finish it. Even though I won't be able to wear it that much till it gets cold again, I still would just like to have it done and have it out of my mental space. And those are the only things that I worked on this week. I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's going to be upcoming on the channel. All of the uploads will be at 6 p.m. Central, because I live in Kansas, and that's a good time for me. And obviously they will just pop up in the feed if you subscribe down below, and you can watch them at your leisure. So I'm just going to tell you a little bit about what we have coming up and when these things are going to start. And so obviously today, Monday, we started Makes Monday. On Saturday, I'm going to release my first Speedy Stitch Saturday, where I'm going to be making a bee in real time, and then I'm going to time lapse it down so you can watch me stitch it really, really fast. Why? Because it's fun. And I think it's a little bit motivating, kind of. It's kind of like watching somebody speed clean, except you get to watch me speed stitch. And obviously, I do not actually stitch that fast, but it's kind of comical. So, I'll be making a bee this week. There is a poll, which will show up, I'm thinking up here. There's going to be a card right here. And there will be a poll in there so that you can vote on what I should make next week. So this Saturday there will be a bee. What should be next week? I asked my family what I should make. And so each of the kids picked an item and you get to vote on them. I was asked to make either a fish, a bookmark, or a piece of pie. So you can go ahead and click on the poll over here, and what do you think I should make? Fish, bookmark, pie. And if you can't figure out how the poll works, which I don't know on all devices if that works, again, there's a comment bar below. Go ahead and leave me a comment. So then next week, there will be a shop update. I have an Etsy store. It actually opened at midnight today, Monday. But there will be another shop update again next week in the same format. It'll go up at midnight Monday my time. So it will be there Monday morning for all of you. So on Sunday, I will do a video where I will show you a bit of what is going up into the shop. There should be some more project bags and potentially some crocheted toys. So that is a thing. Then going forward, there are two other ideas that I have in the works starting on Wednesday, May 24th. We are going to have what I'm calling Work Together Wednesday, which is going to be a long-running cowl from now until Thanksgiving. We are going to be making an advent calendar. Though not really an advent calendar, but I mean you could use it for that. It will be ready in time for that. But it will be a multi-pocketed sampler, which you can use as an advent calendar, or I have some other ideas for special treats all year long. So you could decide to do them in Christmassy colors or wintry colors or general colors that match your decor, because it might be something you want to leave out all the time. Or perhaps some of them might be good to use up some of these scraps you have on hand. I'll talk more about that starting on the 24th when we'll start that crochet along. And that'll be every Wednesday from the 24th of May all the way through Thanksgiving. So we do that, and then there is also, I'm going to have you all help me be accountable in addition to with the podcast. Help me be accountable for dealing with all my whips. There's a lot of them. And I have an idea called Freak or Frog Friday, where we are going to, through a process, pick one of my whips, and then I'm either going to freak out and finish it, or we're going to frog it. So, that is a thing, and those are coming in the coming weeks. But this week on Saturday, you can look forward to the bee, Sunday, the shop update, and once again, next Monday, another episode of Hooked by Happenstance Makes Monday. I don't know. What are we going to make next Monday? We'll have to wait and see what the week brings, what my happenstance is. The very last thing that I want to do, and I put this last because I really think it's the least important, though I know that some people, that's why they like to watch these so much, is a little bit of vicarious shopping, right? So I'm going to show you the wee bit of yarn that I have procured in this last week. Like I said before, I went and vended at the Kansas Sampler Festival, which meant that I drove through the town an hour away from me where my Joann's is. And I needed to pick up some things to make some toys to fill in some stock which I had sold, and also to make some toys which had basically been requested. I told people, hey, yeah, they'll be in the Etsy shop soon. So, what I bought a skein of Super Saver in this lovely color here, the Ocean, and I already used it. I love it when I buy stash and it's like, boom, in and out of stash. It didn't even make it out of the Joann's bag. It was in the Joann's bag, sitting on the table, and then I picked it up out of the bag and I made the item, and the ball band went in the trash, and the toy is here. Like, bing, bang, boom. Doesn't happen a lot, but it's nice when stash doesn't languish. My battery died, and it was super duper hot, and so it took a while for it to all do its thing, and now my video is probably going to be like going up, but c'est la vie, right? More Super Saver in the color Melon Berry. I've used this before. It will either become an elephant or perhaps a hippo. I also bought a skein of Gray Heather to make elephants, and it will make one elephant because elephant takes about a whole skein. The color Zebra, I had some requests for a zebra, so I might be making a zebra here soon. And finally, a skein of Carrot Super Saver to make a fox. So, nothing too flashy on the yarn front this week, but I think it will all be quick in and out of stash. Like I said before with the other Ocean color, that there won't be a lot of languishing yarn, which is good. So that is it for this week. I hope that you all enjoyed what I had to offer. Please leave me any suggestions, what have you, down below in the comments. I will be trying to keep these episodes fairly brief, or as brief as I ever get, which, you follow me many places in many ways, you know that that's not so likely. That, I hope that you have a wonderful week and that your circumstances happen to involve crochet. We'll see you later. Bye!